Hello, Dr. Dana Tassone with participants in HFT 6228, graduate course in hospitality and tourism management. In the previous clip, I spoke a little bit with you about online courses in general. And as many people know, each online course is a specific experience, and it's taught from a pedagogical perspective of a given professor. In this course, of course, the requirement is to be highly interactive and to be highly experiential. When this course was first offered, when we first developed the program back in 2002 or so, it was a small number of students with a limited number of course offerings. And as a result of that, it appeared as though students accidentally really found themselves in group cohorts of individuals marching their way through the program. And in the beginning, this was one of the first courses a new grad student would take. Now, because of the expansion, because of the growth, and because of the more expansive course offerings, we find that individuals take this course at variance progress in the program. So, as you've already seen from the bios, we have some classmates who are with us for the first time. This is their first course, which is great. Congratulations. And we have others who are in different stages of the program. And of course, now that we know who those people are, we're going to have to hold them at a higher level of expectation. No, I'm just kidding. But the course is designed to provide individuals with a practitioner experience in hospitality human resource management. Bear in mind, we're delivering a program in hospitality and tourism management. Hospitality and tourism would be the operational specifics assigned to various sectors of the industry. And as you know, in our school, we have a broad definition of industry sectors. And the management part would be those business-related courses that apply to all of the sectors and provide us with the training to operate these operations from a business perspective. And so this is one of those business-related management courses. The text is deceiving in that it is not fat, it's pretty thin, and it is written in, I like to think, plain language, and it appears to be a practitioner's text. Where it's deceiving is that it really provides the foundation, the philosophy, or the theories, if you will, behind the practices. The first part of the text is all about knowledge. And then as we progress later in the text, we get into the actual practices associated with each of the sub functions, specialties within the human resource management field. So we're getting the best of both the theoretical world and the practitioner world. Now, some people like big fat textbooks, and I've got one of those. I produced one of those for you if you want, and it's called the Handbook of Hospitality Human Resource Management. It's a collection of research articles from the top scholars in the hospitality human resource field. They were kind enough to indulge me, and that is available to you through the publisher named Elsevier. However, it's not required for this text or for this course. All that's required is this particular text. You've read the syllabus. Hopefully you've read all of the information on the course homepage. you hopefully understand what the expectations are for the course. You know that there are 2 exams, just like in any grad school course, a midterm and a final. And you know that there's a written component for this course. Let me describe or discuss the written component for you. As you've seen from the bios, we have some individuals that have a pretty good amount of practical experience in management and in our industry. Those people probably have a foundation of experiences that cause them to question or identify situations in their respective organizations or organizations of others. Those individuals might choose to take an experiential approach to writing the paper. Clearly, the paper really requires nothing more from a research method standpoint than a literature review. We call it a lit review. And it's, for those of you who already had research methods, you're familiar with this. It's the first part of a paper that identifies the published literature. However, it is not just something that gets slapped on the page. It must have a logical progression. So when one starts a paper, it starts with an introduction. You're telling us what you're going to tell us. And then you would go into a literature review or review of the related literature. And at that point, you're identifying published sources, which are considered secondary sources, to support the future hypotheses or contentions that you will develop later on in later sections of your paper. Not required for us, but that's how a full-blown paper would be done. So in this area, what you want to do is after the introduction heading, use a number of subheadings that provide a logical progression, and you're making a funnel for the reader, a logical progression that will lead you to, in the case of an experiential paper, a problem. And based on that literature, you would recommend an intervention. In the next clip, I'm going to talk to you about diagnosis and intervention in the field of management. And then you would draw from that implications. If you were to be able to fix this problem, what do you think the impact would be? And then finally, what are your conclusions? What does this paper offer to us in terms of interesting new knowledge, and what future opportunities would there be for organizational problem solving? Very practical stuff, and really appropriate for those people who have a good number of years experience in the field. However, others may not be quite so experienced, and it's highly recommended that those people choose a research approach. What's the difference? The difference is that the individual taking the research approach would not be calling upon personal experiences. Instead, they'd identify an area of specific interest to them for additional study. They would pose why, in their introduction, why this is an important area of study. They would then pursue the literature, same deal, subheadings and all of that, draw that funnel logical path down to a conclusion. Now that I know what I know, so what? Here's what. And then finally, what are the implications of that? The implications of that are yada, 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 yada. And that would be the total of the paper. People always ask me, well, the sample paper, is that what a real academic article looks like? And the answer is yes. As a matter of fact, it is a published article that I did with a colleague just a couple of years ago. And that is what a research article looks like. But don't think that as you pursue this program that you will be permitted to write in that fashion, because each of your professors will have different requirements for format. And speaking of format, the format for papers in this program is called APA, American Psychological Association format. And in your resources somewhere, you'll find an APA guidelines booklet that has the most current aspects of that. So the paper it's a confidence builder for those who have not gone through the types of things that the veteran program people have experienced already. We want you to just get comfortable, identify the fact that there is academic literature out there, use that literature for some practical purpose. And that's the goal of the written assignment. How specific should the topic of the paper be? Let's discuss that. I'll narrow it down for you. People usually start very, very broad, and I usually have to help people get it down to a manageable, specific item. Because the field of HR, as you know, is a very broad field. So those are just some additional pieces of information for us as we pursue this course. The next clip will be about Chapter 1. See you then.